Alright, Hebrews, finna do this video on this wicked dude. It's like he giving everybody the middle finger. He been doing it for a long time. The Egyptian con artist, General Seti. You know, he's an Egyptian con artist, and he been trying to show that we ain't the Hebrews, and been doing it for a long time, been disrespecting our heritage, been disrespecting the Creator, been doing a whole lot of foul stuff when it comes to the Hebrew history. And ain't no Hebrews been able to stand up to him. No Hebrews been able to stand up to him. If you look at the videos, you'll see how he just been clowning and just been running rampant. You know what I'm saying? And just been having a good time off the Hebrews that's been using false history. You see what I'm saying? So I'm finna try to put a stop to all that. I ain't finna try to. I done put a stop to all of it, because I got a video showing how we the Hebrews in detail and showing what happened to us. Well, on one of these videos, you know, if you watch and you listen to him, he real diabolical, real wicked and stuff, saying that it ain't no creator, and where he at, where's the creator, where's this God at, and all kind of stuff. And then it make you wonder why the creator, you know what I'm saying, leave a person around to blaspheme. But all that, you know, it is part of, you know, the creator revealing truth to us, because I'm going to show you some history that's going to show you that this guy don't know what he talking to, and that he's diabolical, and that he's working for the beast. He trying to get paid. You see what I'm saying? He don't care who he hurt. He don't care who he hurt, and he don't care nothing about, you know what I'm saying, really what's going on. And he trying to line his pocket with some money and stuff, because he know if he can get the Jews to believe in his message, which they already doing, because them folks got to be paying him and stuff. And then he saying that we ain't the Hebrews. He's saying we ain't the Hebrews, and then using all kind of history and methods to try to prove this. And then he be in debate with the old brothers, what we call the camps. You see what I'm saying? The camps, it seems like they all in it together in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody showing no real history, and these guys be showing Jewish history when they debate him. You see what I'm saying? And you can't show no Israelite history using Jewish history. And I done showed in some of the videos where the Jewish history come from. I'm going to do it again, so you brothers can look at these videos, and then you can get an understanding. You know, I ain't got to make no whole bunch of videos, you know, about this guy, because it's basically done and over with. You know what I'm saying? Because once you understand this, then it ain't nothing he can do or nothing nobody else can do that can change their history. I'm finna show you some history that they can't change, and don't nobody want to fool with. Don't nobody want to fool with but the real Israelites who standing up for some real truth. You know what I'm saying? Alright, we're going to listen to this little brother say something right here, and it's kind of real wicked and diabolical.
I was just at Newark last night. I've been doing this lecture for the last maybe month. It need to be given. It need to be given. Because God, as far as I'm concerned, is the most destructive element in this community. And I didn't say the all-encompassing great spirit of the universe.
Yeah, he did.
Okay?
Yeah, he did.
We're talking about this.
That's double speaking.
This man.
You know, the Creator made man in his image.
See, this is what I'm talking about. And see, we've given all of our resources, energy, money.
Alright. This guy, you know, I just can't really stand to hear all that old wicked stuff, you know, that old blasphemous stuff, you know. But anyway, this guy say that the Creator ain't around, and where he at. Okay, if you go to the scriptures, and we're going to go back to the time when we first got the message, you know what I'm saying, from the Creator after exiting Egypt. And then that's going to be doing Deuteronomy. And then Deuteronomy tell you how the Creator told Moses that we would break the covenant. And that if we broke the covenant, how he would hide his face from us, you know what I'm saying, while we be devoured by our enemies. And sure enough, that come to pass. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Deuteronomy 31, Deuteronomy 31, verse 17. And it says, then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they shall say in that day, are not these evils come upon us, because our Yah is not among us? And sure enough, these evils has came among us because we chose during the Babylonian wars, during the Babylonian times, to go into Africa, Egypt, to worship their religion. We forsake the Creator. So all those curses that the Creator said what happened to us took place. That's like this one right here. And I'm going to show you, this was symbolic and prophetic. If you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, you will see, and it says, and the Elohim shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way of thereof I spake unto thee, and thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. And no man shall buy you, meaning that nobody can bring nothing and redeem you from the bondage that you're about to get. And as a whole, we experienced that bondage, and nobody was able to redeem us. No nation or no peoples brung nothing to our captors and said, free all them and leave them alone and take this. You see what I'm saying? We had to go through the curses like the Creator said. And then to let you know that we in Egypt, it's this obelisk. It's this obelisk called the Cleopatra needle. It's this obelisk called the Cleopatra needle. It's older than Cleopatra, who come about during the Ptolemy Greek king era. Well, this obelisk that come from Egypt was in the promise, was in Egypt when we was in Egypt and bondage in Egypt. When we was in bondage in Egypt, this obelisk was there, and our ancestors would have seen it. They call it the Cleopatra needle. And it was in Egypt, in Heliopolis, around about 450 BC. We know that, we exodus around about 1446 BC. And this obelisk was around 1450 BC. You know what I'm saying? That's how long, it was in Egypt when they first erected it. So it was erected during the time that we was in bondage. During the time that we was in bondage in Egypt, going through our hardship, they threw that obelisk up right there at the beginning of our bondage. After Moses and enslaved that Egyptian and took off, and then they throw, that obelisk was erected during the time that we was in bondage, and it's called the Cleopatra needle, and it's in New York City right now. And also what's in New York City is Necho, wicked tail. That's the image of Necho. That's the king that the Assyrian put their land on the throne around about 668 BC in what's called the Satire history. You have the prophet Isaiah that prophesies the Satire history, and you have the prophet Num. You know what I'm saying? He prophesies Assyria's destruction. Assyria had came into the promised land and violated. We used to use the Syrians in a proxy war between Judah and Israel. But anyway, the Assyrians, during their last days and at the end of their empire, before their lights went out, they established a line of kings in Egypt from West Africa, the Mishwish tribes, and from below lower Libya, and those pharaohs. This one in particular named Necho, he would kill King Josiah after King Josiah cleaned up the Egyptian religion. See, this dude was trying to come across the promised land after Josiah and cleaned up the Egyptian religion, and then they done killed King Josiah, and then we go back to the Egyptian religion and then go into Egypt. I'm going to explain all this in detail. There's quite a few things that I want to talk about, but this dude right here is real wicked. real wicked to say that it ain't no creator and hate that concept. He know that some created the world and the universe, but to say that we are not the Hebrews and that we are not connected to that creator and we are not suffering because of the words of that creator, oh man, dude, mad and crazy. And this history right here, what I'm finna show, need to get out and need to be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because we the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, let's establish some history. Okay, during the time that we was in Egypt, you know, we're gonna have to go back to Joseph. You know, I got a video explaining how, you know, when Joseph was in Egypt, you know, because of what his brothers did, you know, the jealousy, but all that was, you know, at the will of the creator. Okay, when Joseph go to Egypt and Joseph was able to answer those dreams of the Egyptian leader, and how the Egyptian leader wasn't able to answer none of the dreams through his magicians and none of that. You know what I'm saying? His scribes and his priests, they wasn't able to answer none of his dreams. To not kind of go into detail, you know, in the Torah, in Genesis. Okay, Joseph, you know, was able to answer those dreams, and Pharaoh seeing this, Pharaoh real slick, and Pharaoh knew the ethnicity of the people that was in Egypt. It's stated in the Tanakh, you know what I'm saying, in the Torah, how they, you know, recognized that Joseph was a Hebrew. All right, Joseph being a Hebrew and answering Pharaoh dreams, you know what I'm saying. Pharaoh ain't like that, so Pharaoh gonna get him Aseneth, you know, kind of like, you know, the keep your enemy close, you know what I'm saying, keep your enemy closer. So he gonna give Joseph Aseneth, and Joseph had two sons, Manasseh, Ephraim, Manasseh and Ephraim, and Ephraim gonna be the youngest. And if you look at the Ephraim history, you will see that Ephraim, you know, descendants did the golden calf. You know what I'm saying? Especially Jeroboam. You know, the tribe of Ephraim gonna have a strong Egyptian connection because those are their relatives, those are their kindred and stuff. Okay, this brother been trying to put the Egyptian history on us and trying to say that the Israelites didn't have nothing to do with the Egyptians and that the Israelites is some white folks. You know, he trying to help the Jews. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the Jews, they gonna be looking for anybody that's gonna try to prove that we ain't the Israelites and have a good argument and can, you know, put a good show on. You know, back in the day, they called those kind of actors Zip Coon. You see what I'm saying? He doing one of them old Zip Coon acts for them and stuff. And it's a cold thing to be saying that you against the people, you against your enemy, but be slick helping them at the same time. That's awful. You caught up in a terrible trick. You caught up in a terrible bag. Here it is, you saying that you hate them folks and can't stand them, but at the same time, you working for them. You working for them. You an agent of theirs. You a slick agent too, for the simple reason, if you saying that we ain't the Hebrews and that we some Egyptians or some other African folks and be proud of that heritage, then you done help them folks. That's their ultimate dream. That's our enemy's ultimate dream, is to keep our heritage and keep control of what's going on. And if you can aid them in that, then they all for it. You see what I'm saying? And you've been doing that. You can see by your following and the people that's watching your message. Out of them 30,000 and 40,000 people, how many of them gonna believe that mess? A bunch of them. So you doing damage to us. If one person walk away from listening to your message thinking that we are not the Hebrew Israelites, then, you know what I'm saying, you done did damage to us. You see what I'm saying? We the Hebrews, and I can prove we the Hebrews. See, the history that I'm going to show, you can't find no history to counter it. You can't find no history to show that the Queen of Heaven worshipers didn't run into Africa to worship the Egyptian religion. You see what I'm saying? See, the Jews ain't going to talk about this. Every time you talk about this to the Sephardi or the Ashkenazi groups, they going to back up. they gonna back up and they ain't gonna want nothing to do with this. They ain't finna trespass in that sin right there. They ain't finna create no history to say that didn't happen. You see what I'm saying? Because they know they'll be going against the Creator, having our heritage, and that they end can come faster than what they think. You see what I'm saying? So they left that alone. And here you come around believing in the myths and lies that they done created over the years. See, the Jews, the Sephardi Jews, ain't nothing but Babylonian scribes. They've been having the history of creating a history, demigods, governments, administration, assigning meaning to words for thousands of years. You see what I'm saying? See, Canaan and the Amorites were born in a civilization before our father Jacob was even born. See, the Canaanites gonna go all the way back to Noah days. You see what I'm saying? Now we know a whole lot of history, and a whole lot of people was born from the time of Noah and the time of Jacob. You see what I'm saying? So those Canaanites had a civilization, and I show in the videos, you know what I'm saying? This is the third video on him. You see what I'm saying? This is the third one. I ain't gonna make too many of them. It's shutdown time now. He done been shut down already. You know what I'm saying? The Israelite Brotherhood on the scene. You see what I'm saying? This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. That's a message from the Israelite Brotherhood, and I'm a religion killer. I'm an Egyptian religion killer. You see what I'm saying? I'm an Egyptian religion killer. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I'm an Egyptian religion killer. You see Egypt pyramids inside it with all those religion symbols. You know what I'm saying? All that come from Babylon. You see what I'm saying? All right, check this out, Hebrews. This brother been running a good con game. Good con game. And he helping the enemies, like I said. But I'm finna show that we're the Hebrews. You know, like I said, Joseph was given Asenath. And then from Asenath, you know, they the kids' granddaddy gonna be the priest of On. You know, he gonna be the priest of the whole Egyptian religious system. And he gonna put that Egyptian mess on the youngest son. That's gonna be Ephraim, gonna be the youngest. You know what I'm saying? I didn't show when Solomon passed away how Ephraim. But then first let me show you how when we left Egypt, them the Egyptians left with us, the mixed multitude. You know, the mixed multitude. If you go to, I think that's Exodus 12. All right, Exodus 12, verse 38. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, and even very much cattle. You know, so a mixed multitude left Egypt with us. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be more than likely the Joseph kindred and Manasseh and Ephraim, them kin people, the Mishwish people, the cattle worshippers, the people that worship them golden calves. You know, the golden calves symbolize about 5-6 Egyptian religions. You know what I'm saying? I can go into them, but that's just to sum them up. The cow was just a representation of it. You know what I'm saying? There's about 5 religions tied into that golden calf. Okay, that mixed multitude lead with us. Them Egyptians, you know what I'm saying? We know that when Moses went up to get the law and was gone for a little while, that the people said, you know, what happened to Moses? You know what I'm saying? Don't look like he coming back. Make us a God that'll go before us. And that's going to be those golden calf folks. You know, Pharaoh done planted his seed when he gave Joseph Asenath. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, that mixed multitude lead with us. All right, we're already messed up, finna be shook up right there and stuff about, you know, what the Egyptians done did to us. You know what I'm saying? They being dirty and low down. You know what I'm saying? Being dirty and low down, knowing the Creator done freed us from them. They gonna make sure they send some of their folks with us. You know what I'm saying? And then the kids being taught that golden calf worship by their granddaddy, the priest of On. See, we starting off bad. You see what I'm saying? So the Egyptians dirty and low down, and they messed us up. We should never be trying to claim no Egyptian heritage. That's kind of crazy, knowing that the Egyptians messed us up. Okay, the golden calf folks, when Moses come down, you know what I'm saying, they did what they did. We had to wander around to kind of shake some of them folks off because they was too deep. Okay, we get into the promised land. King Samuel, King Saul, and King David do they land first with Joshua and them. We know how we was going to the promised land, and then how we just parlayed and kicked it with those Amorite tribes and didn't do the job that we were supposed to. We were supposed to get rid of them. We were supposed to get rid of them, and we didn't. And the Canaanite tribes ain't nothing but some albino Tazarat people that didn't have no pigmentation. And then since Canaan kids was the first to go abroad, the first to move around, then they gonna come in contact with them Nephilims and them Raphilims, Cain descendants, from mixing with those angelic beings who didn't have no pigmentation, because they ain't confined to no sun, rotating around no sun. They don't need no pigmentation. So they gonna mix with Cain, wicked tail, and then Cain, them descendants, you know what I'm saying, gonna be them Nephilims and Raphilims, and then they gonna roam around, and the Canaanite tribes gonna mix with them. You see what I'm saying? So the Amorites gonna be mixed with those folks, and then that produced Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what I'm saying? I did a video explaining how the gay stuff come from them. You know what I'm saying? Because they anti-creation, they anti-creator, and that's their expression of being anti-creation and anti-creator. That's the mark of the that's the mark in the sins of the beast. You know what I'm saying? Is to be anti-creation, you know, to try to do away with whatever the creator created. Well, that's what they trying to do. And that's what they did in Sodom and Gomorrah with that lesbian and gay camp and stuff, with that wicked stuff, where the creator got them and wiped them out. But that was an Amorite civilization, and that the Amorites was chased away from there. They went into the mountains and they survived. You see what I'm saying? So the Canaanites and stuff gonna be wicked and stuff. And he got a video talking about that this God is evil for saying go destroying those African people, because he know those Canaanites are related to them Hamites. He ain't no fool and stuff. This dude is trying to exploit everybody. He trying to exploit them Jews and exploit us too. You see what I'm saying? Because he trying to trick them Jews into thinking that he can convince us that we are not Hebrews, and then he trying to trick the people by making them think that they some Egyptians and some Africans. And we know that the Africans ain't did nothing for us. Ain't did nothing for us. 400 years in this captivity, it's a known fact that you can sail any ship up to any nation within 12 miles. The white folks ain't gonna get mad. They ain't gonna come shoot your ship up. They ain't gonna take you to jail. They ain't gonna do nothing. You could be the enemy. You could be the enemy, and you can sail up to the white folks nation, man, within 12 miles. Man, within 12 miles, and they ain't gonna do nothing. They ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's an agreement. You can go within 12 miles and point missiles and bombs and everything at that nation, and they ain't gonna do nothing. Guess what? Africa, the West Africans and the other people, they ain't never sent the ship to Brazil to get no Africans or the people that was kidnapped from Africa and took it into slavery. They ain't came to America. They ain't came nowhere to get us. And they ain't never sent for us. And they ain't never tried to do nothing for us. But this dude is trying to convince us that we some Africans and stuff. You see what I'm saying? And it's a known fact that, you know, it's history how the Chad groups and the folks from in Central Africa. I know who you are, and I'm going to start presenting that history too, and how those Africans helped sold us, because we are not them. You know, it's a long history. You know, when we went into Egypt in the book of Jeremiah during the Babylonian wars, we sojourned in the Sahara and we enslaved the Ethiopians. They called us the Gramantians. You know, they try to cover the Gramantian history up with Berber history. And the Berbers are the people that came from Asia and from Turkey and Syria that settled on the coast of North Africa and then went into the interior of Libya. It's a known fact that the Gramantians and those people that, you know, that's a misnomer and a misname that the Greeks call those people. But them people build pyramids in the Sahara, you know, baby pyramids. And how about the Barber people, who they trying to say that they were, can't build no pyramids, ain't never built no pyramids, and ain't never did nothing. But they try to cover the Berber, the Grammentian history up with the Berbers. That's a long history, and I'm going to start going into that. They're real dirty and low down. We dealing with some scribes that been having publishing houses and publishing schools all around the world for hundreds of years. And we just now getting to where we can publish our research. See, that's like a lot of people gonna say, well, you're not accredited. I'm not an accredited historian that going by, they school and they standards. Guess what? The history that I'm gonna show ain't gonna never pass they courses and stuff, because they don't want the truth to come out. And the history that they present to the world is basically myths and lies that they created to keep our history hid on who we are. See, our history was blotted out by some professionals, scribes from Babylon. Okay, and this dude trying to help them. You know what I'm saying? He trying to help them, man. He trying to destroy us big time by saying that we ain't Hebrews and that the Jewish people are the owners of the promised land. Guess what? Man, it's almost true. The Jews are Amorites, and the Amorites are the owners of the promised land pre-Israelite occupation. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to prove that the Amorites got their land back. I got a video on YouTube. Subscribe to my site and you're going to keep up with the latest history, and I'm going to show you history ain't nobody going to ever show you. You see what I'm saying? This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. All right. Those Amorites, the Jews would be Amorites, the Sephardi groups, whose name is Sepharvaim. Sepharvaim was a city in Babylon, Nippur in Cyprus. And those Babylonian towns were where the scribes of Babylon was. And they're responsible for all Babylon history, like Norjal, Murdoch, and all the history of its gods. They're responsible for it. And they was placed in our land in 722 BC when we were slipping on the Egyptian religion. I got to get back to showing how them Egyptians tricked us. I already showed how Joseph was given Asenath, and then from the two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, and then how we left Egypt with the mixed multitude, and then how we immediately threw that Egyptian religion up. Okay, after Solomon's death, we're doing Solomon time. It's this brother named Jeroboam, was from the tribe of Ephraim. And Solomon tried to get him, and then he took off to Egypt. And he gonna stay in Egypt with his relatives. Shawshank and them gonna be from the Mishwish tribes. Those gonna be the people that's in control of Egypt. That was from the time that Joseph was there. These people back on the throne and back in the game and stuff. And Egypt would, the power would transfer from the ones from Upper Egypt. That's gonna be the Nubian, Ethiopian stock like that, and then the other one's gonna be from the west of the Nile in Lower Egypt, and that's where all the history and all the pyramids and all the good stuff about Egypt, you know what I'm saying, come from there. And those are the people that kind of held control of its religion and everything, especially in Heliopolis. That's the first religious site for them. Okay, those Egyptians left with us. And then after Solomon's death, Jeroboam come out of Egypt with 2 golden calves. Let me show that, because that's something everybody got to see that. We already didn't drive those Canaanites and those folks out of the land during the judges' time. You know what I'm saying? So those folks still there. And then we got to combat the Egyptian religion, the Amorite religion. Man, we done had our hands full for a long time, and we ain't never had a break from being from the other folks' religions and they gods. Basically, what we don't know is that law that Moses gave us, and that the covenant that Moses gave us, was to create a whole new culture. A whole new culture and a whole new history for the earth, because those old cultures like the Egyptians and the Canaanite culture, they done burnt out. They done lost their way from the creator. They start worshiping idols and images and stuff. You see what I'm saying? And they wasn't supposed to do that. So us having that law from Moses was supposed to set a whole new culture about. And being that we didn't have it for too long, for 800 years, going into the promised land, about 820 years, that wasn't a long time to leave an impact on, you know what I'm saying, to where people would know that we been there, and that it was us, because we was uprooted so fast. And then the culture that the books and stuff that we left to some Babylonian scribes that was professional writers and distorters of information, and they created a whole new history of what our heritage should be. And that's the Jewish religion that they got today, that all the other religions spring off of. You see what I'm saying? It's a cold mess, man. It's a whole bunch of cold, ruthless stuff going on. But we, the Hebrew Israelites, and the Creator, know we're going to wake up in the last days. You see what I'm saying? Because this the last days of this country rule. They done lost the financial system. It's just a matter of time for it collapse and we get some freedom. Alright, Solomon. You know what I'm saying? You go to 1 Kings chapter 12. And you're going to see how it says that after Solomon's, death, Jeroboam come out of Egypt. And it says, Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled to Egypt unto Shoshan. That's going to be his relative, because, he from the tribe of Ephraim. If you read 1 Kings 12, and then you get to, I think it's if you get to chapter 11, verse 26, you'll see, and it says, and Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephraimite of Zerudah, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zurah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against Solomon the king. See, Solomon slipping on all those religions. Solomon had all those women and stuff. And every time we rise and try to get on our feet as a Hebrew male, they always throw their women at us. It's been a tradition. We've been failing and falling, for the longest, since Joseph time. You know what I'm saying? They give you their woman. That's where it come from. And that's when they get these Hebrews, these athletes, and these individuals, these women and stuff. It's because they got a long history of giving the folks, the Hebrew males, the women of other ethnicities to cause us to fall and to keep you stumbling and stuff. And they've been doing it since the Egyptian days. That's like the birthdays. The first birthday in the Bible gonna be Pharaoh having a birthday. All the Egyptian traditions and all that stuff is on us. Well, Jeroboam brung that Egyptian stuff out, and this is gonna be let's see, you go to 1 Kings, 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 28. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go to Jerusalem. Behold your gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it's way, past Exodus time, and they still, he pushing that, same stuff that, we did when Moses went up, to get the law. And they push that same stuff that the Egyptian gods brung us up out of Egypt. If you go to 2 Chronicles, the 2 Chronicles chapter 13, verse 8. 1 Chronicles chapter 13, verse 8. You'll see that we was worshiping that stuff. Alright. Let's see what's that is. First Chronicles. Spent half my time turning to the verses. Second Chronicles. Second Chronicles 13. I used to know all these verses by heart, but I got so much history that I be doing at one time. Alright. Alright, you'll see. And it says, and now ye think to withstand the kingdom of the Elohim in the hand of the sons of David, and ye be a great multitude, and there are with you golden calves, which Jeroboam made for your gods. You know what I'm saying? This is during Abijah time. You know, Jeroboam, you know, had brought those golden calves out of Egypt from his ancestors. You know what I'm saying? And he had clout because his granddaddy, you know, Ephraim, granddaddy gonna be the priest of On. So, you know, those Ephraimites gonna have some pull in Egypt. And Ephraim brung that mess out. All right. If you turn to chapter 32, now let's deal with the tribes. You know, this is around about 715 BC. This is 7 years. Well, let's show where them Jews come from, because around about this time, 722 BC, you know, we were slipping on the Egyptian religion from 931 BC all the way to King Josiah started to clean it up, or was born up in around about 638 BC. See what I'm saying? So we on that junk for 300 years. That junk is in us. And you know what I'm saying? And we own that Egyptian religion. Alright? If you go to 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 24, you'll see it says, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cuddar and from Abel and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children Israel. Okay, those people from Sepharvaim, the Hebrew word for Sepharvaim, the translated word for Sepharvaim is Sephardi. Sephardi and Sephardic and Sephardim are the same people. They the same people. They are Sepharvims from Babylon. And if you look in history, they was Babylonian scribes. They were scribes from Babylon. They were scribes from Babylon. They were scribes from Babylon, and that's all they did was write history. You see what I'm saying? That's one them doing the Bible, doing the Tanakh. You see what I'm saying? And then here they go. You know what I'm saying? They had pigmentation too. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They had a little pigmentation. But those are the Sephardi groups whose name is Sepharvaim. Sepharvaim. Those are the Sepharvims. Those are the people from Babylon. Those are the people who were first to inherit our heritage. You know, that's like when some Hebrews be saying, Hebrews, black folks was in Spain. It was Jews in Spain. It was Jews in Spain. They don't know that they talking about these. These are the ones that were mixed with the Edomites. You see what I'm saying? The Sephardims. The Sephardims are the Arabs mixed with those Sephardi Jews. You know what I'm saying? And that happened officially around 130 BC when they converted the Edomites, John Heinekes. You know, it's like it's a whole lot going on. It's like the people in the New Testament won't be Hebrews. You know, it's a long another history, and I got some videos explaining how the New Testament people are not the Hebrews. The exiles from Babylon was destroyed during Greek time, and they was destroyed real fast. I'm talking about within a 98-year span, they was gotten rid of because they couldn't pass heritage over to those other nations and peoples that was in our land. I'm going to try to cover some of that history too. Praise be Almighty Yah. All right. So those Babylonian scribes, you see what I'm saying, that was placed in our land in 722 BC would inherit our heritage. and also Ashkenazi. You know what I'm saying? You see Ashkenazi right there? Ashkenazi code name in history is Scythian. And they will tell you themselves, if you look, you know what I'm saying, that's that evil Cleopatra needle that we was enslaved with in Egypt in Moses' time. Alright? Man, if you see this, Ashkenazi. Look, you see Ashkenazi name right there? Alright. If you look and see, man, it says, you know what I'm saying, that he's a descendant of Noah. Ashkenazi is the son of Gomer, a Japhetic leader in the Table of Nations. And even in rabbinic literature, that's their literature. You know, the kingdom of Ashkenaz was first associated with the Scythians in the Scythian region. You see what I'm saying? In the Syria, they almost call Ashkenazi by its real name, Ashkuza. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Assyrians call them, and they got the Scythians associated with Ashku, and Ashku is Ashkenaz. Where the Ashkenazi come into our heritage during the Chaldean times, during the Chaldean wars. The Babylonian wars was the Chaldean war. Well, the Babylonian was made up, the Chaldeans was made up of Scythians, professional horseback riders that can shoot bow and arrow and shoot you up with it. You know what I'm saying? And we couldn't resist them. And when we seen them savages on them horses with that wild hair and them crossbows, I mean, we got up off the land. You know, it didn't take much for us seeing them and then getting up off the land, because they wasn't no joke. When the Creator said that he was sent for the nations from the north, and he told prophet Jeremiah that, and when them Scythians came, the game was over with. You know, we had did a whole lot. If you read the book of Jeremiah, we was robbing. Basically, the state of mind that we in now is like being on that Egyptian religion. Every time that the Hebrews is on a false god and not worshiping the same Creator, we fight and kill each other. So them got us on all these different religions, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, all these different religions. Well, we gonna fight each other. And it's been like that since biblical days. You know what I'm saying? Even in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? If we fighting against each other, you know what I'm saying? It showed that we on the Egyptian religion. We on the Egyptian religion, we're gonna fight against each other. If we on any other religion besides worshiping the Creator that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob worship, then we're gonna fight each other. That's just the way it is, and our history demonstrate this. And the only way that we can resist other people and have some strength is to not worship none of their gods, none of them, and don't believe in none of that stuff, and only worship the Creator Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob prayed to, and we call him Yahweh. And that's what this devil trying to, you know what I'm saying, this brother trying to keep us from doing and stuff. So he trying to work for the enemy and stuff. But it ain't going to happen, because this video going to shed some light, and you Hebrews will be easily to go feed people that say that we ain't the Hebrews. You know, I'm going to show you a method that's so easy that all you got to do is just pick up the book of Jeremiah and then turn to chapter 44. And then ask them what happened to the Hebrews that went into Egypt or Africa to worship the Egyptian religion. Where is the history of them at? You know, they can't go create no history now. It's too late. You know, and like I say, them Jews, they ain't gonna want nothing to do with that. They ain't gonna get their hands in that cookie jar. You know what I'm saying? Saying we went into Africa and we went into Africa to worship the Egyptian religion is what caused us to lose our heritage. You know, as I showed, you know, let's go to King Josiah now, King Hezekiah. You know, you would go, this is around about 715 BC. You know, like I said, when those Sephardi Jews was placed in our land, they started doing our heritage and started practicing our traditions and stuff. And then if you read on down, 2 Kings chapter 17, and then get down to verse 32, you will see it says, so they feared the Elohim and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Elohim and served their own gods. And that's like that Judaism, the Kabbalah stuff, and all them Babylonian traditions that they had. Schoolhouses in Babylon. There's so much history, Hebrew. And know for sure that you cannot get this history in, all this history in an hour or 2 hours. Our history is so vast and so mysterious and so much going on and so many different aspects to look at it. You know what I'm saying? But this video should help clear up something. This should help get him up off the Hebrew community and let him focus somewhere else, because trying to show that we ain't no Hebrews after watching this gonna be kind of impossible. It's impossible. All right, those Sephardi Jews, the Sephardims, you know, they would worship our heritage, and then as you know, read down, you know, it'll tell you, you know, that they was practicing our heritage, man, and doing everything. And then when you get down to verse 41, this 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 41, man, it said, so these nations feared the Elohim and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as they did, as their fathers did, so do they unto this day. And sure enough, so do they unto this day. They do the same thing. Be playing with the Creator's word from Moses and mixing it with the Babylonian traditions. Okay, in 715 BC, in 715 BC, this is 7 years after they were placed. This will be under King Hezekiah. He trying to get everybody to come to the Passover and trying to get us back on the right track, because we was on that Egyptian religion. We was messed up, and he would be opening the doors for what his grandson would do later. You know what I'm saying? King Josiah, you know, cleaned up the whole Israel. All right, as you get to 2 Chronicles chapter 30, you'll see, and it says, and Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah and wrote letters unto Ephraim and Manasseh that they should come to the house of the Elohim at Jerusalem for to keep the Passover unto the Elohim Yah of Israel. For the king had taken counsel with his princes and all the congregation of Jerusalem to keep the Passover in the 2nd month, for they could not keep it at the time and sanctify themselves sufficiently, neither had the people gathered themselves and met together at Jerusalem, so they couldn't keep it because they couldn't get everybody together. All right, and the thing pleased the king and all his congregation, so they established a decree and made a proclamation. You know, they had to keep it in the 2nd month throughout all Israel and Beersheba, even unto Dan. That's the whole community. That's all the tribes. So the Syrians didn't take no 10 tribes away. I'm going to show you the tribes they took away. Only 3 tribes. The tribe of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh. All right. So they established a decree and made a proclamation throughout all Israel and Beersheba, even unto Dan, that they should come and keep the Passover unto the Yah of Israel at Jerusalem. For they had not done so in such a long time. So the post went with the letter from the king and his princes throughout all Israel and Judah, according to the commandment of the king, saying, ye children of Israel, of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Let me read this over. So the letters from the post went with the letters from the king, from the king and his princes throughout all Israel and Judah, according to the commandment of the king, saying, ye children of Israel, turn again unto the Elohim Yah of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and he will return to the remain of you that are escaped out of the hands of the king of Assyria. And then as you read down, you'll see that he mentioned Manasseh. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm saying you get to chapter 2 Chronicles 30, verse 10. So the post passed from the city through the country of Ephraim and Manasseh, even to Zebulun, and they laughed them to scorn. Nevertheless, diverse of Asher and Manasseh and Zebulun humbled themselves and came to the Passover. All right, and then as you read, you know what I'm saying, you keep reading, you get down to 18, you know what I'm saying, he'll mention some more tribes. For the multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim, Manasseh, Ishkar, and Zebulun had not cleansed themselves. Okay, so, you know, the tribe's still there after the Assyrian so-called captivity. And the tribes does not mention during King Hezekiah time, going to be mentioned during King Josiah time. This is his great-grandson. And then you get to chapter 34 and then get down to verse 6. And it says, so did he in the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, Simon, and Naphtali. And we already know that Reuben couldn't be named by heritage and counted no more after what he did. You know what I'm saying? He did some low-down stuff with one of our father's concubines and stuff. And so he couldn't be named no more. But these are the tribes that the Assyrians took. And then I'm going to get back to showing you about those Sepharvims and how they came to the Passover dinner. Let me do that now while I'm right here in 2nd Chronicles chapter 30. All right. When you get down to 2nd Chronicles chapter 30, verse 25, you will see, and it says, and all the congregation of Judah and all the priests and all the Levites and all the congregation came out of Israel, and the strangers that come out of the land of Israel that dwell in Judah rejoice. So those Sephardi Jews, those Sepharvims, they would come to the Passover from Samaria during King Hezekiah time. They was already done learned out heritage from being placed there, as I showed. So they would come there, and the reason that those folks was allowed to place there because Assyrian was slick and low down. It was a regime change in Syria. I got their history. Well, they came and got the fighters. When they came and snatched the fighters, then there wasn't nobody to resist them folks or threaten them folks that was placed in the promised land. And then that allowed those folks to be planted. You see, now it's two seeds planted. It's the Egyptian seed, and now these Babylonian scribes seed is planted on us. But all this come about because we was fooling with that Egyptian religion. It's like the flame was getting turned up on us, even hotter. All right, if you go to 1st Chronicles, turn right to it. All praise be Almighty Yah. Turn right to it. All right, you get to 1st Chronicles, and then you get to chapter 5, and then you read verse 18, and it says, and the sons of Reuben and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, violent men, able to bear bucklers and sword, and to shoot with bow and with skillful in war, was 440,703 score that went out to the war. All right, and then as you read over and then get to 1st Chronicles chapter 5 verse 26, you'll see, and it says, in the Yah of Israel stirred up the spirit of the king Paul of Assyria, in the spirit of Talicaplazer, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Gadites and the Reubenites and the half tribe of Manasseh, and brought them unto the river Hala and Har, even unto the river goes on unto this day. All right, the prophet Ezekiel would be taken to that same place during the Babylonian wars. You know what I'm saying? To that same river and stuff. That's the same place where prophet Ezekiel was taken. So those people that was placed in our land, those Sephardi groups, they gon' be kicking it because the tribe, you know what I'm saying, the soldiers gone. The people that wreck and do some damage, the Syrians done took them away. You see what I'm saying? See, that history that we've been presented about our heritage is all false. And it's not real. You know, this is the real history right here. And all right, this is where those Babylonian scribes was from. If you look at the man, if you see this, man, it says, all right, you see, super is the Hebrew word for Sepharvim, and this is the area that them Amorites controlled. You know, the Amorites controlled this land. This whole land was founded by Amorites. So basically, everybody born there is going to be Amorites or mixed with them. Well, when those people was placed in our land in 722 BC, then it's like the Amorites being placed back in their homeland. And those are the people that we were supposed to have drove out the land. You know what I'm saying? That Moses told us to get rid of. Those are the same people we've been trapped in their religions and their holidays that they created today. And all the stuff that we going through, they kind of fashion. You see what I'm saying? All the stuff that they kind of going, you know what I'm saying, that we going through, they fashion. Well, those people was from Babylon. And those was Amorites. So when we ran into Egypt in the book of Jeremiah, like 134 years later, called this 722 BC. So 134 years later, we'll run into Africa and get them everything. And they was Babylonian scribes responsible for Babylon history and been there for thousands of years. So we left some people in control of our heritage that got thousands of years of game popping to do, is when you break it down. All right, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cuddar and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim. Sippar is the same as Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And Sippar and Sepharvaim is going to be those Sephardi Jews, the Sephardi Jews and Ashkenazi, who this guy is trying to defend and help. You see what I'm saying? He trying to help them, because if he convinced folks that we ain't the Hebrews, then that's what they want. They gonna get him the world. They make the money. It ain't nothing to get him some money and stuff and some material stuff in this old evil wicked Babylon, but his soul gonna have to pay for it when it get to the Creator. See what I'm saying? But we gonna show some history now, because we gonna shut him down. He ain't gonna be able to do this no more when this video get around. Alright? Alright, so those people would be in our land. You see what I'm saying? Alright, now let's go to the book of Jeremiah. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. Well, now King Hezekiah brung everybody to the Passover dinner, and then after his son was weak, and then King Josiah he cleaned the whole Egyptian religion up. The whole Egyptian religion. And this was real particular about King Josiah. It was a prophecy for him from 931 BC. That's going to be First Kings chapter 13, verse 3. You know, it's going to tell you how King Josiah, that they was going to call him by name. All right, 300 years later, he the real Messiah. See, this is where all the Messiah history that they use for the Jesus come from, because we was waiting on Josiah. So those folks gonna take that history, the people that was planted in our land, and they gonna apply that to their demigods. You see what I'm saying? In the majority, if not all the prophecies before King Josiah was born in relations to somebody coming from the house of David is going to be about King Josiah. I can go into all the history and show you dates and timeline when Prophet Isaiah made those prophecies about the house of David. Where it come to pass during a King Josiah time. You know, he fulfilled everything. And another thing is, people know you didn't have no horses back then, so he had to ride on a horse. All right, we know he was the king, so you know they're going to anoint him with some oil. You see what I'm saying? And then when the Egyptians killed him, you know, they going to pierce him everywhere. In his feet, his hands, on his side. You know, that was the only way to die back then, was to get pierced. That was the only way you could die, is to get pierced. You know what I'm saying? Get pierced by a sharp object. Well, that's what happened to King Josiah, and the Egyptians did that to him. And then when the Egyptians killed him, we went back to Egyptian worship and went back into Africa. And that was the last that the world seen of us until our captivity started right here in the slavery days, the transatlantic slave trade. You know, and I'm going to show all this. All right, King Josiah, as you read, you know what I'm saying, he would clean us up of the Egyptian worship. But it was kind of too late. You know, they had discovered the book. We had been off the law for, you know what I'm saying, a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? We done been off the law and stuff and off the book. Well, Prophet Jeremiah's father, Hezekiah the priest in Jerusalem, found the Torah and sent it to King Josiah. And King Josiah got the message and tore his clothes. You know what I'm saying? He had already had the spirit to clean the land up of the Egyptian worship that was from Jeroboam days, from 931 BC. You know what I'm saying? So he cleaned it up and fulfilled those prophecies. You see what I'm saying? And he sent the scribes to this priestess. And you know what I'm saying, I'm going to pick up, you know what I'm saying, around by here. You know what I'm saying? When he said, this is chapter 34, 2 Chronicles 34, verse 21. Go inquire of the Elohim for me, for them that are left in Israel and in Judah. So it ain't no 10 lost tribes now. You know what I'm saying? King Jeremiah was around, and King Hezekiah had everybody there. King Josiah just said that he got everybody there. He even mentioned the tribes that his grandfather didn't mention. All right, so you know what I'm saying. he said, go inquire of the Elohim for me, for them that are left in Israel concerning the book, the words of the book that are found. For great is the wrath of the Elohim that is poured out upon us, because our fathers have not kept the words to do all that was written in the book. All right, and Hezekiah and they that the king had appointed went to Huldah, the priestess, the prophetess, the wife of Shalom, the son of Tig, the son of Hasherah, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they spake to her to this effect. And she answered them and said, thus saith the Elohim Yah of Israel, tell the man that sent you to me, this saith the Elohim, behold, I will bring evil upon this place and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the curses that are written in the book, which they have read before the king. So it was over with for us. King Josiah tried to save us. You know what I'm saying? But I guess the Creator knew that soon as King Josiah gone, we was going to fall off and go back to the Egyptian worship. And that's what we did, because the Egyptians came in and killed King Josiah, came in and killed him soon as he cleaned the Egyptian religion up. The evil, wicked Egyptians who he trying to make us be and want us to embrace that culture that doomed us and show you how wicked this person is. Then we was doomed for that. You know what I'm saying? And Prophet Jeremiah was around during King Josiah time. So of all the tribes is there in Israel and Judah during King Josiah time and Prophet Jeremiah time, then the next event that would take place is the Babylonian captivity and the Babylonian wars. You know what I'm saying? And Prophet Jeremiah tell you, you know what I'm saying, that he was around during that time. All right, if you go to Jeremiah 1. All right. Yeah, this dude ultimately wicked, but we ain't going though. You see, we're going to have some Hebrews out here that's going to stand up and fight. You know what I'm saying? And this, the Israelite Brotherhood, is the first organization that's showing that he telling a lie and that we is the Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that y'all pass this message out, and whenever he open his mouth, say the Israelite Brotherhood showing we the Hebrews. All right? If you get down to, all right, Prophet Jeremiah. All right, this is Jeremiah 1. The words of Jeremiah, the son of Hezekiah. You know what I'm saying? That's that priest that found the book that went to that prophetess. All right, of the priests that were in Anath in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Elohim came in the days of Josiah, the son of Amon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. So Prophet Jeremiah was around in the 13th year of King Josiah's reign, and he started to clean the land up in the 12th year. You see what I'm saying? So Prophet Jeremiah was around, and all Israel was around. So the Babylonian war started. The book of Jeremiah going to our sins in the last days of the land, the last days of our land. You know, the prophets Ezekiel and them, they was already gone to Babylon. Well, you know what I'm saying, they wasn't going to Babylon yet, but then the Babylonian war started, and then Ezekiel and them took around about 595 BC, and then, you know, the prophet Jeremiah record our actions and dealings during the Babylonian war, the history. You know, he covered in detail. And as you read, you know, he'll tell you how we was robbing each other. We were so wicked that we even, you know, went to the temple. All the people met up at the temple. You know, this was during our last days. The Babylonians was on the way. You know, they done whooped it. They done whooped the Egyptians. They done killed the Assyrians, massacred and butchered them to where wasn't none of them left. You know what I'm saying? And destroyed the whole of Syria in 612 BC, and they was on our way. You know what I'm saying? They know that some of them tribe of Manasseh and Gad and all of them was part of the Assyrian army fighting them, because the Syrians was fighting the Babylonians. That's what they come got us for. We were slipping on Egyptian religion. All right, those Babylonians would be coming our way now. That would push everybody from Israel into Judah. It was a fence wall city, and it shows in history that King Hezekiah had to modify the water system and build a better one, because the numbers of the people didn't increase. You know, the Babylonian wars were starting. You know what I'm saying? And people started to get inside the fence wall, the fence cities. All right, but you know, we start going to the created the temple, the prophet Jeremiah told us to come to the temple and come and let's pray. So we prayed and said we wasn't going to rob each other. We wasn't going to kill each other no more. And we wasn't going to be hurting each other no more. And that, we was going to stop all that. And everybody that we had in debt, we was going to cut them loose. How about as soon as we left the temple, after making that agreement, we went right back to robbing and killing each other. We've been having a long history of doing each other wrong. You see what I'm saying? And that caused our downfall. Every time we be against each other, we always get messed up real bad to the end. Other folks can be against each other and they be all right. But if we be against each other, we go down the drain. You see what I'm saying? And that's why they've been creating mechanisms to keep us against each other. Like the gangs, they create them to keep us against each other. The people that's rich got money and some of us poor that don't have nothing, they keep us against each other. All these are games that the system is playing to keep us from coming into heritage and to knowing who we are. All right. Prophet Jeremiah would try to straighten us up and tell us to do right. And man, it got so bad that the Creator said he's sending the folks from the north, man, to get us. Man, to chase up off the land. Because soon as the Egyptians killed King Josiah, they placed his relatives on the line. And then we go back to Egyptian religion. This is in been around about 588 BC. And look, we was chased off the land. If you go to 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 26. 2 Kings. All right, chapter 25, verse 26. And you'll see, and it says, and all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they was afraid of the Chaldees. We was afraid of the Chaldeans. You know what I'm saying? So we had to get up off the land. You see what I'm saying? The Creator sent the Scythians, Ashkenazi, to chase up off the land. And that's when Ashkenazi come into our history. And those Ashkenazi Jews and those Sephardi Jews been fighting over our heritage, because the Sephardi Jews know that Ashkenazi came in later, and Ashkenazi know that the Sephardi Jews are not the real Hebrews, because they chased us into Africa. So they've been having like little proxy wars, and all the religions was created to cover up they fighting against each other. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna go into that. You see what I'm saying? Oh, it gets real deep. All right, check this out. All right, so we see the Scythians chase us up off the land. All right, I got to get a power cord and record just a little bit more longer. This battery about to run out. Shalom. I pray everybody getting an understanding of this, but it's important that I get this in. All right, chapter 44. I even got a video showing how we told the prophet Jeremiah to go to the Creator after we was chased off the land, to go to the Creator and ask him. That's going to be Jeremiah 42, to ask the Creator if Jeremiah go and ask the Creator what we should do, and that whatever he come back and say from the Creator, we going to do it. And then Jeremiah, the prophet, left and came back. And in 10 days, man, he showed up and said, the Creator said, go back to the promised land. Don't go into Egypt and stay in the promised land. And that he going to change the Babylonians' heart, and that they ain't going to dog us out and take us all away. You see what I'm saying? And that if we believe in him and trust in him, that we will make it through. And guess what we said, man? We said, man, you didn't say that. The Creator didn't say that, Jeremiah. You crazy. We finna go into Africa and we finna stay there. And matter of fact, our whole problem started because we didn't do the gods the Egyptians was doing. And if we was doing their religion, we wouldn't have them problems. That's what we said. And if you go to chapter 44, you'll see that the whole land was empty. You know what I'm saying? Either you was that 1% that was took into Babylon, or you was the millions, the 99% that went into Africa. In chapter 44, verse 2 says, this said the Elohim of hosts, the Yah of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and all the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein. That's where that word ghost town come from, you know what I'm saying? Because there were no Hebrews there. We had to get on down. And it was empty for 50 years because the Chaldeans took it over 588 BC. They didn't get beat down till the Persians got them to 538 BC. And the Chaldeans held control of Egypt. They keep that history quiet. We had to get on away from Egypt when we ran there because the Chaldeans came in there looking for us. And we went into the sub-Sahara. All right, look, you know what I'm saying? You get to chapter 44, verse 15, 16, 17, and 18. All right, chapter 15. All right, I mean chapter 44, Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 15. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by a great multitude, even all the people that dwell in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing that go forth of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. And as we have done when our kings, our princes, in the streets of Jerusalem and in the cities of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food and were well and saw no evil. But since we left off from burning incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and from pouring out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by famine. So we thought because we wasn't doing the Egyptian religion was the reason why all our troubles was happening. That's evil. We paying for that. We paying for that. And this fool trying to keep that Egyptian history on us, it's like keep raping the people over and over and stuff. You being raped again. He pulling out a shaft. He pulling out a shaft and he raping y'all. He raping y'all minds. He done pulled the shaft out and he raping y'all. He raping y'all. He raping y'all mind, telling y'all that y'all not the Hebrews. Everybody descended from the transatlantic slave trade are Hebrews. No matter what your complexion or what your ethnicity done took on since then, if you descended from the transatlantic slave trade and can trace your heritage back to those people, then you a Hebrew Israelite. This man plumb crazy. And then the word black, man, the word black don't mean nothing but death and destruction. The same people who he trying to save created that. Black power and black this. That ain't never got us nowhere. That's beating a dead horse. We getting on a new horse now. We getting on a new horse to ride. We ain't finna ride no more dead horses. We ain't even trying to ride a dead horse. A horse finna die. You already see he leaking, got wounds and everything. He trying to put us on the culture that enslaved us, that caused us to get enslaved. We Hebrews can't go for that. And we got to wake up, and we can't let dudes, soon as they say Egypt come out their mouth, it's time to back them up and say, he don't know what he talking about. That'll save you time. That'll save you time by saying, he don't know what he talking about. Because we the Israelites. And if we lead them people with our heritage, the world will stay in the condition that it's in. We owe humanity the right. We owe the races on this earth the right to prosperity and free of war and mischief and all that. And you can only get that by us coming into our Hebrew heritage. Else the world gonna stay the way it is. Good thing that the Creator made those prophecies, and what he say can't, change nothing. So he just trying to line his pockets with some money. He just trying to make some money and stuff is all he trying to do. He trying to make some money and stuff and going to them Jews by saying that we are not the Hebrews and trying to prove it. Man, you gonna become their buddy. That's like all them Jews. You even see some kicking down parlay with them. Polite. That evil, wicked beast. You know what? When this country fall, them dudes gonna have to walk on some eggshell. I don't know what it'll be. Let this country fall, and then they fall into the hands of some Hebrews. We gonna fix them. Them dudes wicked, trying to keep us from coming into our heritage. I done showed, so he ain't got no fight. There's no fight. There is no way to fight this. It's zero way to fight this. It's zero way to fight this. We are the Hebrews, and I proved it, and I proved that the Egyptians took us down through there. So you listen to him, you're going to be a super fool. You're going to be a super fool. You're going to be a super fool. We ain't going to be no fool.